Yo, I got to give my perspective on this article from psychologytoday.com by Dr. Greg Matos. It's already making its rounds on social media. People are screenshotting it. Sure, somebody's going to make some memes out of it. It's got a lot of commentary going on. There's some gems in this here thing, man. Some of what he writes are things that myself and others have shared publicly and or agreed with. I'll read the article myself in the video before I get into my thoughts and my perspective. Get in those comments and share your perspective. Also be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Y'all know what's next. Let's go. Alright, y'all, let's get into it. Dr. Matos says, "This is not my typical rosy view of relationships, but a reality nonetheless. Over the last 30 years, men have become a larger portion of that growing group of long-term single people. And while you don't actually need to be in a relationship to be happy, men are typically happier and healthier when partnered. Here are the three broad trends in the relationship landscape that suggest heterosexual men are in for a rough road ahead. Now I'm going to read each of the three trends and give my take after each trend. And for context, this is for unintentionally single men. This isn't for you drones that are intentionally single, MGTOWing your way through existence. Alright, now here goes. First trend, dating apps. The doc says whether you're just starting to date or you recently divorced and dating again, dating apps are a huge driver of new romantic connections in the United States. The only problem is that upwards of 62% of users are men, and many women are overwhelmed with how many options they have. Competition in online dating is fierce, and lucky in-person chance encounters with dreamy partners are rarer than ever." Alright, this is my take. I remember when my ex-wife and I separated. We weren't divorced yet, but we went ahead and decided we were going to date other people. At that time, Tinder and all of these other dating apps were non-existent, and the only thing I remember at the time, or was aware of at the time, was POF, right? Well, I jump on POF, and it's okay. It was definitely a shortcut to meeting somebody inorganically and getting straight to an actual date. I didn't have a bad experience necessarily, but I do recall how it seemed that the responses from women were relatively slow. So I told my ex about POF, and she jumped on. In about 72 hours, she was ready to shut it down. And I asked her what the problem was, and she said she already had like 200 messages. I didn't have 10, I didn't have 20, right? So I thought she was bullshit. She showed me the screenshot the next day of the first page, and no shit, it was almost 300 by that time. Of course, at that point, I asked the next woman I met off the app about their experience, and they echoed similar sentiments. Doc is right. It's competitive based on the numbers alone. My next stop was Tinder after I pretty much was done with POF and not really looking to date. Being that I knew I was relocating that summer, well, an acquaintance of mine recommended Tinder, and my kickback was that I was relocating and had already tried POF. So I kind of thought it was a waste of time because I wasn't trying to really meet nobody and get into anything, being that I was leaving. But she suggested that I give it a try and see what it is and at least get a little bit of experience so that way I'm familiar with it once I move to my next locale. Insert Tinder. Now, most of these apps have it to where you can pay to be priority members to where your profile is at the front of the pack. I remember when I got on Tinder, it eventually got the boost option to where you could boost your profile for like half an hour or so, and that would put you at the front of the pack essentially. You'd be seen ahead of everybody else. In addition to the swiping function of the app, anybody that's used it knows it's a swipe right or swipe left. Swipe right if you like, swipe left if you don't, or check or X or whatever, right? In addition to that, you had the stars. The stars meant you could choose a woman as opposed to a regular swipe. This way they'd get a notification as opposed to you hoping they came across your profile via all the swiping. those particular perks were something you had to pay for with the subscription, or a one-time purchase for whenever you wanted to use them, if I remember correctly. Did I spend that little change? Yep, absolutely did. It's a competition, man. And I wasn't trying to rely on hope. I refused to be stuck hoping that she didn't get overwhelmed by all them damn choices. I refused to be stuck hoping that she didn't get overwhelmed by swiping and that she eventually got to me. Did it make a difference? I think so. I met some amazing women. I won't lie about that. I definitely did. I met some quality women here and there and had an overall positive dating experience. Of course, there were some fails, but I didn't waste much time in situations like that. So yeah, if you're gonna go that route, pay to skip the line, bruh. Increase your odds. What's that shit? May the odds forever be in your favor. Yeah. Do that. All right. Second trend: relationship standards. The doc says, with so many options, it's not surprising that women are increasingly selective. I do a live TikTok show and speak with hundreds of audience members every week. I hear recurring dating themes from women between the ages of 25 and 45. They prefer men who are emotionally available, good communicators, and share similar values. Alright, so here's my take on that. And let me tell y'all, I was working on a whole other topic with regard to dating in different cities and regions of the United States. Big cities, small cities, I've been there and done that. Entirely different regions as well, all right? These recurring themes that the doc is saying he hears from women with regard to relationship standards are everywhere. So don't think you're going to run from the east to the west or the north to the south, that the things will change. They will not. I've witnessed this for myself. Most people never relocate from their birth cities, let alone entire regions, although people are doing it far more than they have in years past. I'll put my personal anecdotal experience up against anybody's opinion. He said ages 25 to 45, and he's right. Over the years, from location to location, I've dated within that range. I've corresponded with women between those ages, and the sentiments are the same. Men's issues are the same too, ladies. So don't think that you get to relocate and get different relationship standards from men either. But this article is about men. It's about men's struggles. So I'll stay on topic. Now, of course, the passport players are going to talk about leaving the country. Man, look, shut up. Y'all not leaving the country, not to find relationships. Y'all are leaving the country to trick off at a discount with anybody else's baby's mama in the islands or South America. So stop it. All right, just go ahead and stop it. Y'all damn sure ain't going to Africa or Asia to find wives and relocate them back to the States. Not en masse, y'all ain't. First of all, that's an expensive endeavor with long-term implications and fail-safes for women if y'all bring them here and that marriage fails. Y'all damn sure ain't uprooting and relocating to entirely different parts of the world to integrate into different cultures to start a family. Y'all are not about that life. Not en masse. Not even in significant numbers enough to where we could even have that discussion. But hey, if you do, if you're one of the few that do, bruh, I'm all for it. But for the majority of y'all won't do it. Please take what the doc is saying into consideration. Women prefer men who are emotionally available. I say that with bated breath. Women prefer men who are emotionally available, good communicators, and share similar values, man. That's everywhere. All right, here's a third trend. Skills deficits. The doc says, for men, this means a relationship's skills gap. If not addressed, will likely lead to fewer dating opportunities, less patience for poor communication skills, and longer periods of being single. The problem for men is that emotional connection is the lifeblood of healthy, long-term love. Emotional connections requires all the skills that families are still not consistently teaching their young boys. All right, my take. Yo, step it up, gentlemen. You have to be better. Be the best version of yourselves, okay? The ability to attract is one thing. That surface, you can easily look the part if you're born with it. But you gotta put in the work to maintain quality women. And fellas, if you don't naturally look the part, you can do the best you can to look the part. That means get in shape, keep a damn haircut, dress to impress. Man, I love to run around wolfing with my hair not cut, with the Steve Harvey mustache. Yo, the throwback Steve Harvey mustache. Man, I love to do it. And I'm not a dude that's ever been all about trends, so I totally understand if some of this stuff that women find attractive is simply not something you're comfortable with. There are plenty of women. There are plenty of women that don't want a man in tight clothes, rocking man bags, and bright ass shoes. Just be clean with whatever your presentation is, but don't look like you stepped out of a 90s time capsule, fam. The super baggy look, it's done. Okay, that's done. Now, attraction aside, you gotta be able to communicate. That makes it easier for women to latch on. They are social creatures. It is what it is. My old lady wants to talk, and she likes to talk all the time. That means I have to step out of myself and talk. Just having a bunch of one-word answers to a woman's probing question is not gonna cut it, no matter how good you look or smell. On the other end of the spectrum, talking too damn much, which is what I'm doing now, but talking too damn much, you can't just be talking about yourself. You might as well be talking to yourself if you're just talking about yourself. A sister of mine, I won't share a name, wink wink, I won't share your name, recently shared a situation with me. And essentially she expressed that the dude wanted to talk about himself without her even being able to get a single word in. Brothers, conversations are two-way streets. There should be a common subject of interest, an exchange of ideas, an inquiry about the woman as an individual. Have a laugh. A little witty repertoire goes a long way. And if you don't have that naturally, some well-placed pop culture references that you know she should be familiar with based on her age, where she's from, and her interest, that should establish a decent rapport. That's my surface level perspective on what the doc says about communication. The deeper levels of communication surely tie into men's issues with emotional connections that the doc's referring to. He's dead on when he says emotional connection is the lifeblood of healthy long-term love. If your families didn't instill you with those skills, man, if they didn't teach you, that sucks. It does. And we don't all come from these healthy backgrounds, whereas we were loved on and taught how to love and then taught how to communicate. However, it's not something you can't fix. If you want to be a better communicator on the surface and deeper level, it requires work. And that's getting a little uncomfortable. That might mean taking some classes and getting some therapy. Listen, nobody improves in any facet of life without getting uncomfortable. I've never met a human being that was in great physical shape that didn't experience physical discomfort while improving their physique. Deeper communication is something I definitely struggled with at different points in my life. Fortunately, I did have the proper upbringing, but unfortunately, I built up walls for myself due to the fact that my career path kept me relocating. That also kept me emotionally unavailable. And emotional availability is what the doc mentioned in his second trend regarding relationship standards. I purposely stayed surface. Building those walls kept me out of practice. And when quality women were in place, I definitely wasn't the best version of myself. So step it up. You have to get uncomfortable. To step it up means you're going to be uncomfortable. Okay, Dr. Matos then follows these trends up by saying, while there's probably no chance of stemming the rising tide of unintentional single men, hold on one second. Remember I said in the beginning, the context is unintentionally single men. So MGTOW, men that are going your own way, this ain't about y'all, all right? Okay, back to it. The doc says while there's probably no chance of stemming the tide of unintentional single men, there's still good news. The algorithms are becoming increasingly more complex on dating apps and other online platforms. One great benefit is that great matches are on the rise. Hinge, one dating app, found that through beta trials, 90% of users rated their first date positively, while 72% indicated wanting a second date. How can men reap the benefits of the algorithms? Level up your mental health game. That means getting into some individual therapy to address your skills gap. It means valuing your own internal world and respecting your ideas enough to communicate them effectively. It means seeing intimacy, romance, and emotional connection as worthy of your time and effort. Listen, what did I say before this? I'll repeat it. If your family didn't teach you those skills, that sucks. However, it's not something you can't fix. If you want to be a better communicator on the surface and deeper levels, it requires work and getting uncomfortable. That might mean taking some classes and getting some therapy. Level up your mental health game like the doc said. To step it up, you have to get uncomfortable. The only thing I'll add is that you might have to unlearn some shit. The era of men just getting women based on survivorship, it's over, it's done, it's not coming back in your lifetime. In the modern world, there is no village of men coming to raid a village of women. Therefore, there is no village of women that are simply desperate and willing to do anything to be protected from a non-existent village pillaging group of men. Survivorships are over. Unless you're willing to drop everything and find that village somewhere, you have to be better, and that requires some discomfort. Dr. Matos closes by saying, ultimately, we have an opportunity to revolutionize romantic relationships and establish new healthy norms, starting with a first date. It's likely that some of these romances will be transformative and healing, disrupting generational trauma and establishing a fresh culture of admiration and validation. Men have a key role in this transformation, but only if they'll go all in. It's going to take that kind of commitment to themselves, to their own mental health, to the kind of love they want to generate in this world. Will we step up? This is my last take on this. Will you step it up? Will we step it up? Is it worth the work to you? I don't know. What I do know is that the best version of oneself yields the best results for oneself. It's that simple. If you gotta get uncomfortable, do it. A baby can't grow teeth to eat or strong bones to hold their jiggly little bodies together as they grow without pain and discomfort. So let's get it. I wanna see all y'all booed up and loved up in some corny ass lovey-dovey relationships. But if you're one of these dudes that's out here lying to yourself and others about your intentional singleness when you're really just too lazy to avoid your actual unintentional singleness, shut up. Shut up. The men that want to do the work don't need to be subjected to your pathetic, loser-baked, repeatedly defeated drivel. Get out the way while these men put in the work. Get on out the way. The late Kevin Samuels was on dudes' ass about being the best version of themselves and being intentional. You 50-50 date Mac daddies can shut up too. Now, I'm done. Get in the comments and share your perspective. If you agree or disagree, it's all good. Like, dislike, share, and subscribe. That's all I got. Till next time, people.